How would you describe the sound of your music?
Um, I would say folk pop, sort of. I'm a really big fan of Taylor Swift, but I'm not quite as like pop as she is. So almost like Taylor Swift meets Angus and Julia still, maybe. I don't know.
I was going to ask who some of your musical influences are.
So when I was young, I listened to this folk, is again folk, like a folk band. They were called the Waylon Ginnies or something. And it was a trio, three girls, and they all played like fiddle and cello, I think, and acoustic guitar, and they all harmonized together. And I think that's sort of where my appreciation of harmonies came from. And then Taylor Swift, my whole life, I've always liked Taylor Swift.
Well, you have the video and the song out now for Super 8. Talk about creating this song.
So, so I met my co-writer on Upwork 2 years ago. His wife wanted a song with his poems turned into songs for their anniversary gift. So
Oh,
I met both of them on Upwork, and Super 8 is the song I made for them 2 years ago, for their anniversary gift. And since then, we've been making a lot of music, but Super 8 was the first song 2 years ago in, I think, March of 2022. So it just made sense that that was the first one to get released.
what has the fan response been to this particular song then? It must be people reaching out to you and connecting with it in their own ways as well.
Yeah, some people have cried. I have been told that, which I guess is a good thing. Um, it's so far it's been a great response. An influencer on TikTok and Instagram, actually, I think her name is Shayna. She actually reposted the song, and basically, so she moved to Italy from the US, and she sort of used the song as like describing her experience moving to the US. I mean, moving to Italy. And so it was interesting to hear it from that perspective. And I think it touched her because a lot of the lyrics are about Italy, references to Italy. And so it seems to be touching people, which is good, like more of a deeper connection. And so I'm really excited about that.
You mentioned you created this 2 years ago. Why was now the perfect time, though, to put it out to the public?
So I was actually living in South Africa 2 years ago. I still am. I'm living there on and off, but I think that we just took the time to develop our sound and create a lot of songs. And also, we needed somebody to help us record the song, like to be the music producer and whatnot. And so we found David Barron, who's worked with the Lumineers and Shawn Mendes and Pink and lots of other people. And it took, quite a bit of planning to get a session booked with him
Wow.
and to get me to the US. And there was a lot of like moving parts. And so it took quite a bit of planning. And I think it took 8 months to actually decide we're going to make the music and everything, make the song, and go to New York. So the first year and 3 4 months, whatever, that was just sort of developing our sound and just like enjoying the creative process, getting to know each other, sort of.
The song also features trumpet played by Chris Passon. How did the two of you connect?
So David is in Boyceville, New York, and there's musicians everywhere. Literally, he'll call like we'll say we want a trumpet player, and David will say, "Okay, I can get one in tomorrow." And it's like he just knows so many people up there, and there's musicians everywhere. And so Chris Payson just happened to be who David called. I think that's sort of how it happened. But Matthew randomly decided he wanted trumpet in the song because there's a reference, Louis Armstrong songs. That's one of the lines in the song. And so Matthew thought it was fitting to put trumpet. And I think me and David both were like, I don't know about that. That might be kind of weird. But it really turned out fantastic. And it really does make the song much more of like it makes it even deeper to me. Like it makes it even deeper somehow.
What's your songwriting process? Do you have a typical way you write music where you need music first, or then you craft the lyrics, or does it happen naturally just every time?
um, I have taken a lot of like courses and learned a lot about songwriting. And for me, and a lot of other like very well-known songwriters agree, it sort of starts with a melody and you sort of like sing gibberish over that melody.
Mm.
And then you fit words into the gibberish. And that is what creates like a very singable, nice melody. And so usually I guess I start with a melody. And then with this particular project, Matthew will send me some poetry and then I'll also maybe have some stuff written and sort of like blend the two together. But and usually I'll be taking what he has written and turning it into like song form, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you touched on how you came to work with David on this, but how much of a say or how much even of a hand do you tend to have when it comes to the production side of the music you make?
Well, when we were in the studio, surprisingly, it was a pretty equal effort between me and Matthew and David, and there was quite a few other people in the room. Renee is sort of like the assistant in there in the studio, and she also had some feedback for stuff, which I thought was awesome. And then we had a photographer named Brooklyn, and she also gave her feedback for some stuff. And so it was a very like collaborative effort in there, which I enjoyed a lot.
Well, this is the song you have out right now. You have Super 8 out. Is this a prelude to an EP or maybe a full album?
It's possible.
All right, that's a small tease.
That's all I'm supposed to
So
say.
we'll hold on to that for now. You've got you've had a live performances here from Woodstock, New York, and then you had one in Italy back in March as well. What can fans expect from a live Ginger Winn performance?
um, when I haven't performed live in the last like 3 years much because I've been living in South Africa. I've mainly been like producing music, making it myself. And so I used to busk a lot before I went to South Africa. I would play on the streets in Charleston, and you learn a lot when you do that. And so I think you can expect like a very intimate performance.
Hmm.
Um, there may be a band at some point that I'm playing with, but usually like what I've done in the past is just me and guitar, and it is intimate when you play like that. And I also play ukulele, and so I'm planning to like whip out the ukulele for some stuff. And just a fun performance. Like I want it to be fun and enjoyable for everybody.
Well, what would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the beautiful music that you make?
I guess thank you. I've been in the music business for so long, and like to have people listening to music that I'm making now and enjoying it and it touching them, like I can't even describe how it feels to create something and it touch somebody else. It's like the most special feeling, and I hope everyone can experience that at least at some point in their life because it makes my heart smile. It sounds so cheesy, but it does.
That's how you react when someone is touched by something you've crafted and created and you spend all that time putting your heart into it. Certainly, it
Hmm.
must mean so much to you to have people appreciate that.
Yeah, it really does. And I've almost felt a sense of family just from the first fans that we've gotten, and it's again makes my heart smile.